There are moments in life when a single morning changes everything. When a person wakes up and realizes that the world they took for granted is beginning to blur. This is the story of a man who discovered hope when he thought his sight, his memories, and his purpose were slipping away. It begins on a winter dawn, cold and strangely silent, when 48-year-old Amaan stood in front of the mirror, rubbing his tired eyes, trying to understand why the world seemed dimmer than it did yesterday. That morning, he could not read the small prayer inscription hanging on his wall, words he had read effortlessly for decades. His heart clenched with fear, a fear deeper than pain, a fear that slowly seeps into bones when one realizes the body is no longer listening the way it used to. His vision was weakening, his concentration fading, and his memory losing its sharpness. And on that morning, with trembling fingers and a racing heartbeat, Amaan wondered if this was the beginning of the end of the life he once lived with confidence and ease. If you believe in kindness, hope, and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe before the story continues. It truly helps more people receive powerful, healing stories like this. Amaan had always been a hardworking father, a gentle teacher at a small public school, and a man whose world revolved around his family, especially his daughter, Noor. She was his sunshine, the heart of his home, and the reason he pushed himself every day despite exhaustion. But over the past few months, Noor had noticed something changing in him. He squinted while reading her school notes, forgot simple things like where he kept his keys, and sometimes paused mid-sentence as if trying to remember what he wanted to say. Amaan hid these struggles behind a smile, but Noor could see right through him. She worried in silence, unsure how to help the man who had always been her strongest supporter. At school, things were getting worse. Amaan found himself standing too close to the board to read what he had written. He mixed up student names, misplaced answer sheets, and once even bumped into a desk he didn't see clearly. Some students whispered that their teacher seemed distracted or tired. Others exchanged glances when he stuttered or forgot a line, but none of them knew the truth that Amaan felt as if his world was losing focus both literally and mentally. Every night, he lay awake staring at the ceiling, terrified that one day he would no longer recognize his own daughter's face or read her handwriting. That fear ate away at him, turning a confident man into someone shrinking inside his own shadow. One lonely evening, while returning from school, the blurry glow of streetlights looked like melting halos around him. His vision kept ghosting, sharpening, then fading again, like the world was trapped behind a misty curtain. He walked slower than usual, worried he might misstep. When he reached home, he found Noor sitting with her books, her eyes lifting instantly when he entered. She noticed him wiping his eyes again, and that night, for the first time, she gently held his hand and asked, "Barbara, are you okay?" That simple question hit him harder than any storm. He wanted to protect her from worry, but the truth spilled out in the silence that followed. He admitted his eyes hurt all the time, that he couldn't remember things as he once did, that he felt like he was fading. Noor's eyes filled with tears, but instead of crying, she hugged him tightly and whispered, "Barb, we will fix this, I promise." The next day, she skipped her after-school activities and ran to visit her grandmother, Amaan's mother, who lived just a few streets away. The old woman listened carefully as Noor explained everything. She closed her eyes in thought, then gently smiled, placing her wrinkled hand on Nora's head. "Your father works too hard," she said softly. "But nature always keeps solutions for those who seek healing with sincerity." She reached into her wooden cabinet and pulled out a small iron box filled with dry fruits, simple, familiar ingredients that hid ancient wisdom. "These are not just snacks," she said. "These are blessings from nature, and they have saved our family's health for generations. She revealed 3 dry fruits that had been used in their family for decades to strengthen eyesight, sharpen memory, and restore energy: almonds, walnuts, and dried figs. She explained how almonds nourish the optic nerves, how walnuts support brain cells and improve memory, and how figs increase blood flow and restore clarity to tired eyes. Noor listened with hope sparkling in her eyes. She returned home, carrying the iron box like a treasure chest, determined to heal her father. That night, Noor told Amaan everything. At first, he smiled, amused by her determination, but seeing the hope shining in her eyes, he agreed to try. She prepared a simple mixture: 3 soaked almonds, 1 walnut, and 2 soft soaked figs, an ancient combination known for strengthening the brain, eyes, and nerves. Amaan promised he would take the mixture every morning, and although he didn't expect much, he couldn't deny the comfort he felt watching Noor's dedication. Days passed. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Amaan began feeling changes. The constant burning in his eyes eased. His morning headaches reduced. His mind felt a little lighter. One morning, he realized he could read the newspaper headlines without squinting too much. It wasn't perfect, but it was better, and that small improvement was enough to spark a flame of hope within him. Noor noticed the changes first. She watched him walk more confidently, saw him smile more often, and heard him speak with renewed clarity. She began adding more care to his diet: fresh fruits, vegetables, and warm herbal teas. Every morning, she placed the dry fruit mixture next to his cup of tea, just as her grandmother had taught. Amaan began to feel something he had not felt in months: strength returning to his body and mind. One rainy evening, while preparing lesson plans, he realized something shocking: he had finished his work faster than he had in a long time. He didn't forget the topics midway, didn't feel confused, and didn't need Noor's help to find his glasses. His heart filled with gratitude. He sat back, closed his eyes, and whispered a silent prayer of thanks, not just for his improved memory but for the bond with his daughter that had grown deeper, more tender. But life often tests a person's strength right when they regain hope. A week later, during a parent-teacher meeting at school, Amaan felt a sudden wave of dizziness. His vision darkened momentarily, and he gripped the edge of the table to steady himself. Fear returned, cold and sharp. What if his improvement was temporary? What if his body betrayed him again? He managed to finish the meeting, but as he walked home under the cloudy sky, his heart felt heavy. When Noor saw him enter with pale cheeks, she rushed to him. As he explained what happened, she listened calmly and then said something that surprised him: "Barber, healing takes time. You've carried stress inside you for years, but you're improving. Don't lose hope now." Her words hit him with the force of truth. He realized healing was not a straight path. It wavered, dipped, rose, and demanded patience. And for the first time, he allowed himself to believe that he deserved healing, not just for himself, but for Noor. The very next morning, he restarted his routine with renewed commitment: almonds for strength, walnuts for memory, figs for energy. He added warm turmeric milk at night and took brief walks in the early morning sun. Slowly, steadily, his vision began stabilizing. The fog that once clouded his mind lifted. His students noticed their teacher was back, not just physically but mentally, with the same passion he once had. Even the principal commended him for his improved performance. Weeks passed. His progress grew visible. He could now read fine print with less strain, remember lesson plans effortlessly, and even engage in small evening storytelling sessions with Noor, moments that had disappeared from their lives during the worst months. The bond between father and daughter grew stronger than ever. Every day, Noor proudly reminded him, "Barber, you're getting better. You're becoming stronger." One morning, something extraordinary happened. Amaan walked to his wall and looked at the same prayer inscription he had failed to read months ago. This time, the letters appeared sharp and clear. His eyes filled with tears not of pain, but of overwhelming gratitude. He remembered the fear he once felt, the despair that nearly broke him, and the strength that returned because of 3 simple gifts of nature and 1 powerful gift of love, his daughter. His life transformed, not because the dry fruits were magical, but because he found hope again, discipline again, and a reason to fight for himself. He learned a truth that many forget: nature heals slowly but deeply when given time, consistency, and belief. As the story nears its end, if this journey touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It truly means more than you know, and it helps us reach more people who need hope. Before we end, I have a special request to please comment below. Hope heals. If this story inspired you, Amaan's life became a reminder that sometimes healing begins not in big hospitals or expensive treatments, but in small acts of care, small changes of routine, and the pure love of someone who refuses to give up on you. Today, he moves through life with clearer eyes, a sharper mind, and a heart full of gratitude. And every morning, before taking his dry fruits, he quietly thanks Noor, the daughter who became the light guiding him back to himself. And maybe, just maybe, this story will be the light someone else needs today.